Hi everyone, welcome back to another video, and if you're new here, hello, my name is Choua, and on my channel I do videos about my lifestyle, health, food, and beauty. And today we are finally doing a project level up update. It has been a long time coming because I think I did the introduction in like May or something, and it is almost the end of September. So I figured that we should probably do an update because I have met the goal of this palette. So let's get right into it. And if you like this makeup look, I did do kind of like a get ready with me makeup try on with products that are in my declutter or my chopping block category. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. Otherwise, keep on watching. As y'all know, this is the palette that I had randomly entered into this project, and this is our level 1 palette. This is the Makeup Revolution Forever Flawless Allure palette. It's a really gorgeous palette, very nice kind of mauve-y berry tones and stuff in here, and we have a lot of progress in some of these shades, I would say. So Project Level Up, if you don't know, it is kind of like a mix between, not a mix between, but like a mix of No Pan Left Behind, Pan That Palette, and Pan That Pandal Shadows or something like that. It was created by Sophie Alexandra, and she's a big project panner. The reason why it took me so long to get through this palette and to do an update is because I did not use this palette for 2 months. So I used it right after I did my intro for this palette, and then I didn't use it for a majority of June and July, and then I finally picked it back up in August. And I think it was because I just really wanted to be adventurous with other palettes, and I had a lot of work stuff that I needed to attend, and I have just been doing a lot of the same old looks, like a lot of pinks and a lot of brown looks, to keep it professional. So I didn't really reach into this palette that much around that time. So that is the reason why. If you really count all of the months, it has taken me about 4 months or so to finish level 1, which I hope that's not the case for level 2, but we shall see. And so let's look at the progress. So when we first started, this is how it looked like. Of course, no dips or anything like that. This is how it looks like today. Yeah, so that's how it looks like today. And so I did hit pan in hedonism, I don't know, the very first shade. I used it 11 times in the month of May, and then I used it 4 times in the month of August and 2 times this month in September. And so I used it for a total amount of 17 times to hit pan. And the reason why it only took me about 17 times to hit pan is because I counted each day that I went into the shade as 1 time. But really, when I do go in, I have to kind of pack it into my brush and really put it on the eyes because it's not too pigmented. And then also, I didn't just go in 1 time each time I used it. I would go dip it in multiple times on the days that I do go into this palette. So that's the reason why it took me 17 times. But if you count like each time I dipped into it, definitely going to be way more. But I'm glad I was able to finally hit pan. This is the shade that I used a lot to put in my inner corner to brighten up the inner corner when I don't really want to put a shimmer. And then next we have Magnetic, which we used 8 times in the month of May, and that was it. I didn't reach for it after that. And then we have Sensation, which is kind of like a peachy, creamy skin toned matte. We used it 3 times in May, and then we used it 1 time in August, and I didn't reach for that shade after August. And then Lovesick, we used it twice. Crave, we also used twice. And then Suave, we used once. So that is the first row. Moving on to the second row, with Attract, we used it 3 times in the month of May, and then I didn't use it after that. And then Flaunt, we used it 7 times in May and 1 time in August, which is 8 uses total. And then Sweethearts, which is the shade next to it, we used it 5 times in the month of May and then 1 time in the month of August. And so the total for that is 6 uses. And then with Sinner, we used it twice in the month of May and then we didn't reach for it again after that. And then with Nymph, we used it 3 times in the month of May and then 1 time in the month of August. So we had 4 uses total for Nymph. And then Seduction, we used it twice in the month of May. So that is the second row. And then lastly, the third row, starting with Chemistry, I used it 1 time in May and that was it. And then Charisma, I used it 1 time in May as well and that was it. And then with Infatuation, I used it 3 times in May and that was it. And then with Risky, I used it 1 time in May and then I used it 1 time in August with a total amount of 2 uses for Risky. And then with Fever, I used it twice in the month of May. And then J'adore or Hador, I used it 2 times in the month of May and then I didn't use it after, I didn't reach for it after that. So as you can tell, there were really only 3 shades in this palette that I only used once to really meet the 1 use goal. But the rest of these, I went in a couple or few more times to kind of get a look with this palette. So I will be rolling this out. This project is a lot harder than I thought, but maybe it's also because this is kind of one of those harder palettes to really reach for because of the pigmentation. And also I'm kind of, at that time, I was kind of reaching for more summery shades and I was really into browns. And this one was very mauve, very berry-esque kind of tones. So that is why. But we are going to keep going and we are going to do level 2. And so it is towards the end of September. It is September 20th on the day I am filming this. And so I feel like we can probably accomplish 1 more level before the end of the year and then I might reset for 2026 because I think that's just gonna help my brain be able to organize these projects a little bit more. Who knows, but we shall see. I'll let y'all know. But we are going to randomize the next palette for level 2. I am hoping that it is going to be a really good one, a very fall appropriate one. So let's see. I have a random wheel app thingy on, random picker I should say, wheel thing on my phone. So we are going to use that. We are going to spin the wheel to randomize our palette. Oh, okay. Awesome. So we got the Jaclyn Hill Dark Magic palette. So let me go get that so I can show you how it looks like. And then we're gonna roll that into level 2. So I'm really excited for that. This is how Dark Magic looks like. Very beautiful, very fall, and I can also wear this during the holiday season. So that means with this palette, we are going to have to use every single shade 2 times, and then we have to hit 2 pans. I'm not sure which shades I am going to pick as my focus shades to hit pan on, but definitely not Temptress because I do already have a Temptress and my other Jaclyn Hill Morphe palettes that are in my project pans that I've already hit pan on. So I'm probably going to use this twice and then just be done with it because I have other black shadows that I can reach for every day. That might be the game plan for Temptress. Otherwise, everything else I might go in a couple more times after my 2 uses for each of them. And I don't know which one I'm going to reach for and really pan, but I'm pretty excited. I mean, I could always use Poof as a transition, so this one might be the easiest shade to hit pan on. I would be interested to see if I can hit pan in one of the shimmers. Let me know how long you think it's going to take me to accomplish level 2 with this palette. I hope that I will be able to reach for this palette a little bit more than this one. I don't want to go 2 months without reaching for this palette. I just don't want this project to be a super neglected project because I do like it. That's kind of all I have for this video. Thank you so much for being here. Wish me luck on level 2. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below on what you would like to see next, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!